Episode of Atfal youm. We've got a lot planned for you today. We've got our weekly hadiths by Nawal and Mansoor, and we've got the Quran that Usama reads. So first things first, why don't we go to Usama for the Quran?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما وفي الآخرة عذاب شديد ومغفرة من الله ورضوان وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور سابقوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها كعرض السماء والأرض أعدت للذين آمنوا بالله ورسله ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم صدق الله العظيم.
MashaAllah, that was so beautiful. Now I'm going to do the translation. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Know that the life of this world is but amusement, and the diversion and adornment, and boasting to one another and competition in increase of wealth and children. Like the example of rain, whose resulting plant growth pleases the tillers. Then it dries, and you see it turned yellow. Then it becomes scattered, debris. And in the hereafter is severe punishment and forgiveness from Allah and approval. And what is the worldly life except the enjoyment of delusion? Race toward forgiveness from your Lord and a garden whose width is like the width of the heavens and earth, prepared for those who believed in Allah and His messengers. That is the bounty of Allah, which He gives to who He wills, and Allah is the possessor of great bounty. Thank you. Right, this surah, this ayah is telling us that we should not be distracted by the wealth. I know it is good to have wealth and luxury, but we should not distract it. We should spend our wealth on good things. We should spend it on going to the we should spend it when we go to the mosque. So the mosques, there could be new mosques, and the mosques can help improve, buy Qurans, so the mosques can buy Qurans and things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has only made this world to test us, to see if we do good things or bad things, and we will be rewarded if we do good things, and we will be punished if we do bad things. So now Nawal and Mansoor are going to do the hadith that they do every week. Go on, you start, Mansoor, please. Thank you.
وعن أبي هريرة عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لؤن عبد الدينار ولؤن عبد الدرهم رواه الترمذي. It is narrated by Abu Hurairah that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Curse is the slave of 2 dinar, and curse is a slave to dirham." And Ka'b bin قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن لكل أمة فتنة وفتنة أمتي المال رواه الترمذي. It is narrated by Ka'b, the son of Iyas, that he heard the Holy Prophet ﷺ saying that every nation has a trial, and the trial of my followers will be through wealth.
Over to you, Nawal.
عن أبي سعيد رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أيما مسلم كسى مسلما ثوبا على أرى كساه الله من خضر الجنة وأيما مسلم أطعم مسلما على جوع أطعمه الله من ثمار الجنة وأيما مسلم سكى مسلما على طعام سكاه الله من رحيق المختوم. رواه أبو داود والترمذي. Abu Sa'id radiallahu anhu narrated that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said, whoever gives clothes to a naked Muslim, Allah Ta'ala will give him a green dress to wear in Jannah, and he who gives something to eat to a hungry Muslim, Allah Ta'ala will feed him with fruit from Jannah, and the one who gives a drink of water to a thirsty Muslim, Allah Ta'ala will give him a sealed wine in Jannah.
Wow, that was great, Nawal. And now I'd just like to explain what the hadith means that Nawal just read. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his messenger, says that we should always not spend money, and we should spend money, but we should spend it in good ways. We shouldn't waste it. Like when we go to the mosque, if people collecting mosque money so they could build the mosques, they can buy Qurans and they can buy new things for the mosque, we should always, even if it's one little penny, we should always put it in there, that we would get a lot of sawab for that. And as Nawal said, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that if we see a thirsty man on the road or anywhere and he's thirsty, he doesn't have any money to buy a drink of water, we should give him a bottle of water. And when we go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the world ends and the day of judgment comes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us with halal wine, and the wine will be halal, and this will never make us thirsty ever again. See, that is a very good point. We should always give the money to poor and anyone who needs money. We should never waste money on things that we don't need it on. So I'd like to give it to Maharij and Renisa now, please. Thank you.
Yeah, like Renisa, I was telling you earlier that I went to go visit my friend the other day, and she has a little sister, and she's quite young, she's around your age, Mansoor, and she came up to me and she was very, very upset, and she's normally not like that. She's normally a very, very jolly girl, and she's happy all the time, so obviously I knew straight away that something was wrong, and then I said to her, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Is there anything going on in school, or are you okay? What's wrong? Then eventually she gave in to me and she told me that her mother refused to buy her the new tablet, the latest technology. And then I just looked at her and I said to her, wait, it was your birthday a couple of months ago. Didn't your mum buy you the latest one then? And she said, yeah, she did, but now there's a new one out, and I want that because all my friends are getting it, and I'll feel left out if I don't have it because that has newer features and it's cooler, and I want it. And she was very upset by that, and I said to her, hang on for a second, you've been collecting all these things and you're only, 8 years old, and it's all you seem to care about is, you're trying to keep up with these latest things and latest technologies, and why? Because you can't take them with you when you go, and that's the whole point of this life. And she looked at me and she didn't really know what I was talking about, and then I realised that maybe she didn't understand what I was trying to say, so then I explained to her that this life is a test for us Muslims, for everyone, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, isn't it? Yeah. So, and I know for a fact that our world is so, so beautiful. There's so many things out there. Just look at the deserts and look at all the wildlife, and it's so beautiful that we get a bit caught up in it and we don't realise that our world is only a test and we're only here for a very limited amount of time, and we get so hooked into this world and we get lost in it almost because it's so big, and everything seems to be like a race. Like, you know, who's got the best car, who's got the best house, who's got the best GCSE grades, who's becoming what, who's higher up in our social class. And I know that we're just children, but you know, later on in life, people will, you know, the whole point of this is studying now is getting good GCSEs so then we can get into good jobs, we can get a good pay, we can buy a good house, we can have a good life, which is all good because, you know, people work so hard to get to where they are now. For example, you know, doctors, lawyers, they have worked very hard, and I'm not saying they haven't, and you know, but the thing is that loads of people, they work so hard to get higher up in this life, they work so hard to gain a name, to become something, that they almost forget what the purpose is, and they keep emphasising that this life is only a test. And I know we're only children, but still, you know, our generation, we get so caught up in the latest technology, the latest clothes, buying what's new, having what your friends have, you know, and we seem to forget that we can't take anything with us when we get, say, for example, relationships. What's the best relationship in this world right now? You know, I will probably say the relationship of a mother and a child. Nothing, that is absolutely irreplaceable. You know, nothing beats that, and that's probably the most valued relationship that here is in this world. And you can't even take that. You can't even take that after you die. So if you can't even take such a valued relationship, then of course you can't take all these material things with you. They're just going to stay here. They're not going to do you any good after on in life, you know, because we as Muslims, we don't believe in reincarnation. We only get one shot at doing things, which is the life we're living right now. And, you know, we can't blow that one shot just because we want to do well in this world. Of course we should, but we should never forget that we need to carry on, and we need to think about what we do and how our life in the other world would be, because that's going to be based on how we're living in this world. You know, we can either go to Jannah or we can either go to Jahannam, which is based on our deeds. Like I said, when you can't take anything with you when you go, then there are some things that you can take, which are your sins or your good deeds, and that's going to decide how good your life after death will be. But you know, nowadays people seem to forget that. We seem to be so into like buying the latest things, especially our generation. Me being a teenager right now, I know that for a fact I will go to my mum and I will say to her, "Mum, I really want this. All of my friends have it. Please buy it me." And the thing is that I know that I don't really need to buy it. It's just something that I want. And humans, we always have this thing where we always want other things, you know. You want something, you buy it, and then the next day you want something else. And if you look at it, would you really need to buy these things, you know, or are they there just because you want them? That there's no need for them. And do you know what that word's called, Renisa? Because I know there's a word for it, but I can't remember what exactly it is.
Yeah, it's called consumerism.
Right.
But what exactly is consumerism? Well, it's really the need to buy things that we think we need, but we don't actually need them. Have you ever wanted to buy special branded trainers or clothes just because your friends are wearing them, or because you believe if you're really cool, then that's what you should be wearing? Think about it. Why do we actually behave like this? What if I start to design plain white t-shirts and then put an R on it for Renisa? Would you think it's really cool to pay lots of money because it's been designed by me?
No, I wouldn't, because I mean, why would you really think that something with the R would be cooler and popular?
But then, but then I suppose that's what people do. That's exactly what Venice's trying to say, which is exactly what branding is. It's basically just buying things with like words on it.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
And because it's got an R on it, everybody will be able to tell you're wearing like a really, like such a cool and expensive t-shirt when it's only a plain t-shirt with an R on it. And that is like part of consumerism. When we want to have something that someone makes us believe is really cool, but when we think about it, it actually isn't. It's just people trying to get us to spend our money. But what could we do with that money instead? We could donate it to a good cause, like look after an orphan who actually needs food to eat. And do you really need the latest phone or laptop or everything else because everyone else has it? If you weren't wearing designer clothes or didn't own the latest phone, would that make you a bad person? And would you stop talking to a friend because they didn't wear designer trainers have the latest phone? Of course,
Okay.
it would still be
sorry
their
to
phone.
interrupt you, we've got a call. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalam. Who's this?
My name is Sham.
And where are you calling from?
Nottingham.
Is there anything that you'd like to do today?
I'd like to recite a surah.
Okay, feel free.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون صدق الله العظيم.
Well, thank you for that. Sorry, that's all the time that we have for this week. Next week we will have a longer show for you, so please tune in next week and we will be waiting for your calls next week. Sorry about that. Thank you. Dafis.